and he giggles a lot. He's a billionaire, but he giggles. But it's a very expensive giggle. And he turned to me, he said, we got one out of 11. We've never gotten that high. It's just wonderful. And I said, give him a chance. I said, give him a couple of days, and he'll get in touch with you. I was wrong on that, by the way. He'll get in touch with you, and he'll give you a reason why he failed. I was wrong because he called back within 2 hours. After they left, he went to a payphone, no cell phones in those days, and he called in and he said, it was those walkie-talkies you were using. That's radio interference, you see, and it sets up electromagnetic vibrations that interferes with my dowsing stick. Well, he was tested about 2 weeks after that in Perth on the other side of Australia. He had another set of dowsing tests, and he again applied, and he lost miserably on that, and that seemed to prove the case. I had a question back here.
What's the most clever trick or tactic someone ever used to intentionally try to fool you?
What is the most clever trick?
Yeah, what's the most clever trick or tactic someone used to intentionally try to fool you when being tested?
Oh, yeah, well, they don't get to use them. They try, but one of them was Riley, the says he's a friend of Gilder's. Gilder denies it, but that's okay. Riley, anyway, he lives in New York. Penn went and investigated him for us, and sort of smartened him up, to say the least. Riley said that he was going to come, and he just announced his intention to come to Florida, and he set the rules for the test, right? And he said that we would choose any person, and he would meet the person in advance and get to know them, see what they look like and such. And then they would go away someplace in Fort Lauderdale within a half-hour radius of where we were. And after they had concealed themselves, they would phone in and say, okay, I'm in place. And he said I would be able to identify things that they were seeing, and the name of the street and the number of the building and that sort of thing. I would locate them. And I said, that sounds good to me. That sounds just fine to me. So why don't you come along? And he said, okay, I'll be down there on Tuesday or whatever. And then I wrote him an email and said, oh, by the way, you won't meet the person. You'll meet the person probably in advance the night before, but then he or she, the next morning when you arrive, will already have gone to the location. Never heard from Riley again. The idea was, of course, that he'd have someone tail him or her, and would find out where they were and give several landmarks, and there's a street here, give them a little bit of a clue there. So Riley never showed up. That was the end of that. But that's not as clever. I've other people do subterfuges which are far too long to get into here, really.
How about the breatharians? The breatharians, the people who don't eat.
Breatharians. Oh, yeah, well, all right, that doesn't take long. Breatharians are people who live on air. And there are two classes of breatharians, live and dead. No, but the live ones are ones you just started. No, the breatharians, there are two classes of them. Either they will only drink water, in most cases spring water, yeah, right. And the other one say, I don't even need water. Well, this seems like an unlikely situation to me. I don't think they can survive very long that way. But it was San Francisco, I think it was, yeah. Yeah, it was with Bob Steiner, as a matter of fact. And we decided to test a breatharian there. And we said that he would go into this Holiday Inn. We'd pay, this is before the challenge existed, but he went into the Holiday Inn. We paid for the room in the Holiday Inn, but we searched the room thoroughly in advance. And then he was allowed to go in there and lock the door, and we went and we parked outside in the car, in the parking lot, the far side of the parking lot. And there were four of us in the car, so one of us at least was always awake. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, we saw the door open. Everybody was stirred. We watched carefully. He came out with a shopping bag. Went down the stairs and across to the Burger King, loaded up with burgers. And we sent one of us to ask what the gentleman had just ordered. And I wanted to make sure the order was right because we wanted 20 Burger King to think. No, he ordered 30. Yeah. Oh, okay, that should be enough. He went back up to his room. So we knocked on the door, and he answered the door, and we saw the bag sitting right there. And said that, what about this? He said, oh, I wasn't going to eat those, I just inhaled them. That was the end of the test. He wasn't a trustworthy person. But that was before the $1 Million Challenge, I would say. So, Allison, or Jeff, what do you want to follow that way?
Well, one of the things that's happened in recent years is that rather than waste Randy's time with this, we've had other people deal with it. Andrew Main, Andrew Harder, another name for him, did it for several years, and then the famous Kramer took over. And after Kramer, I did it for a short while, and now Allison handles it. So Randy's not even aware of some of the crazy stuff that goes on because we don't bother him with it until it looks like it's getting somewhere. So things may look kind of quiet, but actually I know Allison probably has 30 emails waiting for her right now.
Probably, yeah.
And,
maybe some macrame too, I'm hoping.
Yeah, does everyone here know about the paranormal macrame?
No.
We received,
Tell me, do tell.
well, we received in the mail at the JREF a package, and it was macrame. It was this, yeah, it was an object of indiscriminate shape. It was
Blue. It was a very nice shade of blue.
It was
And there
pretty.
were Polaroid photographs of someone wearing more of the macrame. And it was attached to note cards stapled to them, and the entire thing was written in highlighter, and it wasn't even full sentences. We have no idea what the claim was, but there was something about that macrame that was holy, or something like that, I think. Yes, it was a special flying spaghetti monster macrame.
It didn't look that dissimilar to the Flying Spaghetti Monster, but the most interesting part of this challenge application, if that's what it was that there was no return address, no email address, no idea where it came from. So it may have spontaneously emerged from the mail system, and that was its
We should explain, Jeff, what macrame is. There's a couple of puzzle expressions down there. I think it's an Italian dish.
Macrame is it's a sort of fabric made out of woven yarn or string.
You make the fabric by knotting yarn.
It's, you know,
Is it
I had to
tattered?
become an expert on macrame for this, just in case.
it might be. Actually, it's gone.
It is in the JREF.
It's at the JREF. I have to find it. At the open house for the JREF, the JREF's a very eclectic place with all kinds of odd objects around, and this is just one of many, so it doesn't hold any particular importance. So if I can locate it, we'll definitely
It'll
show
be
it.
under M, I believe.
Mark, do you have a question back there?
Yeah, why the 2-year wait to end the challenge? I know you probably have current applications that have to be resolved, but you say you want to do something else with the money. 2 years seems like a pretty long period of time, so I was wondering about the rationale for that.
Oh, well, it's simple. It's just we're giving them fair warning.
Yeah.
You know, when you have an auction and you've got a high bid, you know, fair warning, this is it. You've had your chance. And 2 years is plenty of time for someone to get an application in.
But why not 6 months? Wouldn't that be fair?
Well, it's 2 years is very generous. And
It
some of
took 3 years to get Cordero's protocol worked out for an actual test.
When you
It
hear
might
them
take
saying,
someone that
oh, he
long.
only gave us 6 months. No, you can say, only gave us 2 years, duh. That seems to be enough time to write out the application, perhaps to get it right.
One interesting thing that's happened since this announcement is some people have announced it as a victory. We've finally gotten rid of that challenge. Well, what does that mean? I mean, you've finally gotten rid of somebody offering you $1 million? How is that a good thing? It's baffling that there's a small group of people, they're failed challenge applicants basically, who are claiming this as a victory. And it doesn't bear the slightest bit of scrutiny. It's a really strange reaction. In fact, the opposite reactions would seem to make more sense. It's like, oh, someone's getting close, so they're going to get rid of the challenge. But they're saying exactly the opposite.
Are there other challenges that are offered by other skeptic groups?
Oh, yes. The Australian Skeptic Group, and a group in Clearwater, are they offering a prize?
Yeah.
They're all over.